Buttons about the speed bumps. There were a lot of people who said that you don't have any money now, that you will never have any money then. But those same people don't have a passport. And now I do have a passport. So it's those things that you can really overcome. Any other questions? Yes? I was tired of being poor. I was tired of not having money in my pocket. I was tired of not being able to, go out and vacation. It's exhausting. And if you are honest with yourself, you don't have to be honest with anyone else. Nobody likes not having. No one not likes being able to go to dinner where there's a tablecloth on the table, or go to Miami, or go to Cancun, or go to, Mexico if you want to do that as well. It gets a point where when you get that tired of not having anything, what else are you going to do? Yes?
You mentioned earlier that when you were 24, just getting out of college, that you started a disabilities. What drove you to have a charity for that particularly?
In college, when I came home, I had to work and go to school. So I needed a job. And I wound up getting a job through somebody that I knew. And somebody that I had, my family had knew, and I worked at night from 4 to midnight inside a group home. And then in 1995, we were on a plane coming back from a trip, and inside a magazine it said, "Start your own not-for-profit." So we filled it out right there on the plane and mailed it. And we kind of figured that we would start a not-for-profit with what we already knew. So if you're a good singer, you want to go out there and sing. If you're good with computers, you want to go out and do that because you're already good at it. If you're a good public speaker, and Mrs. H, who in here has the biggest mouth? Oh, who's the most vocal? How about that?
That's okay, you don't have to be Miss H.
Who would you say is the most vocal in here? Oh, you?
No.
Okay, well, whoever's the most vocal, that's a strength. People might look at it as a deficit, but it's a strength. You could be a public speaker, you could be a lawyer, you could be a politician.
I think what I'm really asking is why disabilities rather than, say, a college fund or something for homeless youth or something?
Because I was already working in that particular field. For me to go into homelessness, it would be a new thing for me to do, and why go and try to do something that I don't know, I'm not familiar with. The book that I've written and the company, I started a new company last year called Everybody Paddles. We're going to start a foundation so that I can do those things, like give money away to youth as well as to homelessness, etc. Yes?
It's a weird thought, but like...
Let me hear it. Huh?
Do you have kids?
No. And the one thing is, and I guess I'll speak on that, is that there are people who have kids in college, but it doesn't have to be the end. There are people like, I don't know if anyone in here does, but I just want to know, you might have friends who do. I had friends who had kids in high school, and right now, anyone heard of Juicy Magazine? T.I. is smart, and I went to high school together right there on 49th Street, and she has a son, but she's a hugely successful person. Anyone know Maxwell? Yeah. We went to high school together on 49th Street. Huh? Yeah, the singer. There's but what happens is that, and the reason why I bring that up is having kids or not having kids is not an obstacle, and somebody in this room is going to be hugely successful, and you know them. You already know them. So imagine that person in the back who wants to be an engineer. Imagine him starting the next Apple. You know him now. You want to be a singer, or you know him now. So when he becomes whoever he becomes, the people in this room are your network of people for the next 20 or 30 years. Any other questions? Yes?
Do you like your job?
I love my job. I'm my own boss. I get to go to work when I want to go to work. I get to not go to work when I don't want to go to work. I get to have people believe in my leadership, etc. I love my job. Absolutely. Any other questions? Come on, please.
I want to rephrase my kid's question. It's like, I feel like, when you since you have your own weaknesses when you were young, you were tired of being poor. Do you feel like you're gonna spoil your kids? Because if they had nothing, you're gonna feel like I want to give them everything. Don't you think that's a weakness they're always gonna have?
You went in a whole nother topic. I don't know if I'm even gonna have kids, but I guess what happens is my siblings. I have 5 nephews and a niece, and yes, you will spoil your kids. But because you spoil your kids doesn't mean that you don't have to teach them discipline. It doesn't mean you don't have to teach them time management. You don't have to make sure that education is important. All of those things still become important, even if you spoil your kids, which all parents want to make sure their kids have better than what they have. So spoil your kids, but make sure they know that the importance of education, etc. Orange sweater? Question?
Oh no, I was talking about that with my friend.
Oh, okay. Anyone else? Yes.